Hey guys, welcome to our episode 25 of the Green Room. I'm so glad you're joining us, and then we're also in week 2, and we're in the new Green Room set practicing some social distancing. So hopefully you guys are staying safe and well in your homes, and so we want to continue to bring you content based on each of the messages. Last week we started our first online message talking about how do I deal with fear. Today we talked about how do I deal with frustration, and truly, we're going to have to use some of this content pretty quickly. Hey, thank you for tuning in to our online services as we bring hope and healing into hearts and homes right where you live, and so I'm glad that you're able to do that. Please share these services, share everything. This is a great opportunity, a window that God has opened to us to be able to reach far more people than we ever did before, and please, we're going to continue to meet in our groups. So Green Room helps us to have opportunity to discuss what's going on in the message, go a little bit deeper and connect. And so we're going to be doing more and more small group equipping, helping groups to get equipped. So Tim, talk to us a little bit about how do small groups meet in a season when, well, you can't meet?
Yeah, so one of the cool things is that there's a lot of technology out there. There's things like Google Hangout, there's Facebook Messenger. Actually, Facebook Messenger, you can go live on a video and add other folks. I just learned how to do that last week myself. I think Pastor Bryan actually posted a picture because I tested it out on our staff. So you can actually get multiple windows there and pull your group members up. One of the things we'd like to say in this season is catch up what's going on in each other's lives. You can even watch this Green Room prior to catching up with one another, and then lift up. Spend a little bit of time maybe in prayer, and after you've caught up, and then as we're practicing this social distancing, kind of cut it, and then do it again the following week.
I think that's really important because catching up and lifting up, that's really the fundamentals of our groups. Please do not lose contact with folks in your life during this season. It's going to be a little bit challenging, but I highly encourage you. Make sure you use some of these tools. I know in my group, this coming Thursday night, we're going to do a time of catch up, lift up. We're going to look at using Facebook Messenger for that and get some windows open and just see what's going on. What's really, really cool about this is one of our members in our group recently received a job in Baltimore, lives there during the week. And so this is going to be a phenomenal opportunity for us to connect into the lives of the folks in our group and just spend a little bit of time, maybe about an hour. You don't need to necessarily go 2 hours unless you want to watch each other eat, which would be really weird. But if you want to do that.
Online eating.
I'll get back with you. Have some time to do that. I think that's super, super cool. All the tools are there. Now, we're also talking about expanding. So those are small groups. What about large groups? Well, some of our largest groups are our recovery ministries. So, Bryan, talk to us a little bit about what are we looking at for maybe recovery and where are we going with that?
Yeah, it's a good question because that's such a great community of people that are used to meeting together and hanging out and talking. And so I've been talking with the leaders of CR and the Landing, and we're working on being able to do that online as well, whether that's going to be through Zoom or even phone call conversations. But we're trying to set up those platforms so that we can do that, because it's so critical, because it's a lifeline for so many of us to be able to go to Celebrate Recovery and talk about what's going on with us. So we're working diligently as a church to be able to do that, and you'll want to stay in tune for that as we continue to roll those things out. The leaders will be letting that community know about what's happening, but we're hoping to get something going this week is where we're at.
So speaking of staying in tune, so we will be broadcasting our second version of the Wednesday updates. That'll be coming up this Wednesday, 3 p.m. So stay tuned to that. You can catch it anytime that matches your schedule. But that's when we'll give you the latest grace. And then one other thing, orbc.net. We're going to begin, if you go there now, you already see we've made substantial changes to the homepage and the landing page right there. We're going to continue to enhance that to show you how can I engage 100% with Oak Ridge online during this season. We're going to continue to expand these ministries, so stay tuned. This Wednesday we'll give you updates. So from the message today, frustrations, dealing with frustration. What are some thoughts that you had, and then maybe you can talk, Tim, about the chat line, what other people had. So frustrations. First thing I would say is, so Brian Lloyd, we know what frustrates your wife, okay?
getting her on live online. Yeah.
Putting her live. But what are frustrations, that you see people experiencing in this season?
Well, it's funny, like I've had opportunities to be in the grocery store a lot, as many of us have, lately, and you can just see it all over everyone's face. The people are just frustrated. Lives are changed, schedules are changed, and like we don't like that, and you talked a little bit about that today, and I think the things that I'm seeing and hearing from people, and even for me, is like, hey, I'm frustrated that I can't do what I normally do. I think that's one of the biggest things, it's that I want to be able to do what I want to do, and but I can't in some circumstances. And I think that's a real issue for people. And I think some of it is, I don't think that, it's not like things have shrunk that much for us yet, but it's just this idea that I'm going to be restricted. And I see in my conversations, that's causing people a lot of frustration.
Yeah, I think one of the big frustrations that I have during the season, I was talking with Anna the other day, we were in the car, and just kind of dumping. I just opened up. It's weird. I didn't even know where that valve came from. It's like, this pressure release valve. But I think that one of the frustrations that I really have is the frustration of not being able to know what's next.
Yeah.
And that's driving me nuts, thinking, okay, I've adjusted and I'm pretty good at leadership change and I'm pretty good at the fast, fluid, flexible. That is who I am as a leader. But what I don't like is when I need to do that fast, fluid, flexible every 5 seconds. Then it's like, okay, I just completed the last plan, and that's where I'm at. That's the one that really gets me, and I'm wondering, what's next. We're already, thinking about, the next stage, which is some of the states are starting to lock down the whole state, saying nobody goes outside their home, and I think just figuring out what do we do in that next, step, that next stage? Because here's what I can tell you guys. We are not going to stop having church, being the church, doing church. The message never changes, but the methods will constantly keep changing. But during this season of changes, we see that frustration. You guys have probably heard me say this many, many times before. It's not unique to me. What do you get when you squeeze an orange? It's not orange juice. It's whatever was inside. The fact is, in a season like this, we're going to get a little squeezed, and sometimes what comes out may surprise you. And if it does, that's a good signal. That's a good signal that, hey, maybe I'm not, keeping up with quiet time and walking with the Lord and trusting in God. And in the message today, I mentioned 2 ways that we actually express thanks to God. I trust Him for my care, and I turn to Him in prayer. Those 2 activities may or may not be something, and those signals of frustration help me to say, am I doing that? Am I really trusting God in this season?
You know what, I love what you did today in the message, and man, that was just real for me. How you pulled that in, just what you said, into washing hands. Because we're all washing our hands right now, and how can I, show my gratitude to the Lord? How can I pray when I'm washing my hands? Lord, help me with this frustration. And I was like, man, that was so good, because everyone's washing their hands right now.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I'm having to watch for myself is that, just like what you said, because things are changing so quick, there's this tendency to be in this reactive mode. And like that helped me, and I'm sure it helped a lot of other people say, okay, hey, there's a moment that I can kind of get centered, keep things the right thing. And I think that's one of the things we just have to make sure, right, that we don't do through this, is that we just get so reactive and we forget to slow down enough to spend time with the Lord, and let Him keep us centered, because it's been, I did it this morning. I started to get up. I was like, all right, let's do church. And I was like, no, I got to sit and spend some time with God in prayer, because if not, I just, get jacked all up with doing a bunch of stuff, And
one of the other reactions that I mentioned today in the message was a sense of beginning to give in, and a sense of feeling, depressed. And I know before we went live, I did a quick prayer walk, and I do that a lot, in the backstage. In fact, every Sunday before I do it, I walk that curtain. But I could do that out in the regular building this time. And what happened was I went down the preschool wing, and then I went over to the lobby area, and then I went to the children's, and I just started getting depressed. Man, I just started feeling it. I was going, I'm missing I'm missing our people, and it's just like a wave. And I think that we need to be ready for these kinds of things. You're going to experience all of these feelings, the temptation to blow up, to clam up, or to give up. And so that's a sign to back up. That's when we want to go, wait a minute, God, I need to have a bigger perspective. You're not out of control. You're still in control. You know what you're doing. And there's some good things that are going to come out of this and are already coming out of this. So those are some of the thoughts that I had.
Yeah. It was kind of cool because this morning I was on the Facebook stream when our message was online. Almost 400 comments. Wow. So you're seeing this void where people are wanting community. They're longing for the community. Many of them are our people. Hey, I miss you. We had one person that said, I miss greeting at the 9 o'clock service door. So I just thought that was really cool. But really when I look at this season that we're in now, I think about how many people were jumping in here that's never walked through our doors physically. But they're seeing the community online. And how is God going to use this season to really strengthen His church? Because, hey, His church is more than just this building. It's the people that were in this stream right here. And so I just think about the spread, not of the virus, but of the community. And I just think of how cool that's happening the season we're in.
I think that, I'm not a prophet, but I really sense that when we get out of this season, people are going to be hungry for two things. They're going to be hungry for faith, a sense of finding more to life than what their life was, and fellowship. And I really believe we're going to see a huge surge in attendance, similar to the 9/11. I think that there's going to be a surge back to church when the doors finally get open. People are going to be hungry for, man, I'm ready to go. I want to get back in community, and that's why we have not pushed the brake pedal on Build a Dream. We are moving forward with that. I sent you guys out an email. We sent you an email last week giving you an update. Mark shared a little bit of an update. Sadly, they're not going to use my plans. I don't know why. But the plans that they've been working on, they're at the phase now ready for sending that out for bids, and so that's just moving forward. I'm excited that we're continuing in faith and vision because I really do believe best days are ahead of us, guys. So we're excited about what they're doing. So thank you, building team, for continuing to push on that.
Yeah. Bryan, what do you think? There's so much frustration on Facebook right now. Like, what can we do as the church to help balance that out? Most of our lives is online right now, like especially right now. So how do we shine bright even on Facebook, do you think, with so much negative information? I watched this thread yesterday that like people were just mad at a local organization, and it's like, man, I just hurt my heart because I'm like, what's really going on there that you would be mad at this organization who really didn't really do anything? But so we're seeing all this stuff, hey, what would you challenge us to do on social media right now?
Well, it's probably not the right answer, but I would say that one of the things that I've shared many times in series is talking about social media platforms is not the place to deal with strong emotions. So I would say that almost by virtue of protecting us from doing the wrong thing, I would almost want to encourage us to not do anything. Because sometimes we think in well-meaning statements, I'll just tell them, trust God in the season, and the person who's in a full rage vent, that's not helpful. That's actually erupting, and when they erupt at you, it's going to be like, whoa, wait a minute, you need to chill out and take a chill pill and blah, blah, blah. This is not the time to be fighting in a platform like that. This is a time for us, I believe, using the tools of faith to be able to share the message of hope, but then also to get off of the console, get off of the keyboard, and get with our families and spend a little bit more time. Break out those old board games. Get Monopoly. Have a good fight at home. What better way to do that than play Monopoly or something? Yeah. But that's my thought. I don't know if you had some other thoughts. I feel like my temptation is that many times Christians try to do what we say and do is the quick answer, the quick little cliche, and it can actually throw more fuel on a fire that it's not helpful.
Yeah, and I think, I think you're absolutely right. I have a personal, policy that I'm not going to get on threads in an ongoing conversation. I just don't do it because I never see it winning, right? But I think what we can do is, on our own social media platforms, is just encourage people, stay in our lane, but on our own page, be able just to encourage things. I don't need to engage in someone's argumentative thread, but what I can do is still put out positive information, and I think, back to the grocery store. I feel like that's where I'm living these days. Well, Heather's like,
it's the only place you could go, right?
And I'm like, we're both like, you go, no, I'll go. And but man, one of the young ladies that works there, she came up to me and she says, "Hey, can you just let me know things are going to be okay?"
Oh wow.
And I thought,
That's
man, and I was like, yeah, I can encourage you and let you know things are going to be okay. I don't know everything, and I don't know what it's going to look like from day to day, but I do believe it's going to be okay. And so I just,
infusing hope.
That's right.
Just keep infusing hope.
Yeah.
Years ago, I remember the old adage: commend in public, correct in private. So maybe if I have some relationship with somebody who's really venting, that's when you maybe go offline. If
That's
I
right.
have a relationship, I'm going to private message to go,
Are you
listen,
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to correct them,
Yeah.
but to just say, man, hey, look, I love you, I hear you,
Yeah.
and I'm committing to pray for you. Don't engage in the argument, but just encourage. But people need hope. This is a time to infuse hope.
I'm really glad you said that, because when you were talking about the Facebook thread, there's times where, we all have seen these, we're scrolling through and we're like, man, how did we get here? And a lot of times when people are venting, it's just a symptom of something deeper going on. And I know I've been prompted before where I see why they're responding that way and it has nothing to do with this issue. And I think many times that's just where God's kind of prompting us to have that conversation offline. Because if we know them well enough to know why they're responding that way, and it's not even to do with this topic, that would be a good time to where maybe you could speak hope in their lives. And especially in small groups, as you guys are maybe unpacking this, it's going to come up in group.
Yeah.
The closer you are with someone, the more you'll probably rub someone. It happens with family. It happens with good friends and that sort of thing. And a lot of times when that comes out, it's not really even that issue. It's something deeper, and you know them well enough to be able to talk with them about that.
Absolutely.
So in your groups, don't give up. Continue to do those two things. Get on video and catch up and then lift up. When you catch up, ask the question, how you doing? We're all feeling different feelings about this, and it's going to continue to, have different feelings. So spend a few minutes, how you doing? And do some catch up and then lift up. Spend some time literally praying together through that video medium. Listen, video, people are like, that's kind of weird. I'm on video. Do I look at them? What? But the fact is, prayer is a spiritual discipline. When we pray together, Jesus says that something happens in our hearts together spiritually that is powerful. And heaven moves when we begin to pray and connect together. You don't have to be, in the same room. We just have to be in the same mind. And when we do that, God shows up in a unique way. So listen, excited to continue to join you. Catch us on Wednesday for the Wednesday update. Any final words?
Yeah, I would just say look for opportunities to serve one another. There may be some people that can't leave their homes right now that are in that demographic that this virus is going to hit the hardest. I know we're taking groceries to a couple right now as a result of that. Look for ways that your group maybe could serve in this season as well.
Yeah. I think don't forget 10 ways to love your neighbor. Go to the app. You can select that. Also, you're going to be seeing a lot of new content come out online from our Facebook page at Oak Ridge. Hey, share that. Get these messages out. People are thinking about church more than they ever have because they're looking for hope. And that thing that you share showing our service or one of Pastor Bryan's snippets from the message or something like that, man, can just be what someone needs to hear. So that's what I would challenge everybody to do.
Yes.
Good stuff. Share hope, guys. We love you. We'll see you next time. God bless.
See you guys.